Yeah, and just to add this, I'm not really sure where this video is going to go. It's just for somebody that likes to watch. I guess it's for people that like things that I do, that you have an interest in and you like to do it yourself. Because I'm not an expert. It's just kind of, it's fun to figure it out for me. This bracket here that I bought, 4 holes in it, as you can see. So which ones are the right ones? This is to start the engine without a bell housing. So that's the dowel, or the locating pin. It'll be here. So I just slipped 2 bolts through here. It's this one and that one. This is the 302 bell housing to the C4 transmission. This is the bell housing that came off the 289. It's a different bell housing, 5 volt. The point is, this will not fit on a 1964.5 289 bell housing. Again, we're talking about the starter. These holes line up, but these don't. None of these line up. Yeah, maybe everybody in the world knows this, but I didn't for some reason. But that run stand bracket that I've been messing around with, I could not figure out how to make the solenoid come out to engage the gear. Anyway, with Ford you have the solenoid on the fender well. This is what I found out. Take this cover off. That's what I needed to do. It seems to me on all the other starters you could jump the top. There's 2 cables. There was a key cable and a battery cable. Well, as far as I know on this starter, all there is the starter cable. So I want to mount this back in, hold that down, and try to see if I can line up that gear. I mean, does everybody know that except for me? So when I push this lever down, it doesn't even come close to the gear. So that's what. Again, if you run into this problem, this is sloppy, these are sloppy. So I got to tighten up something. And it seems to have the most play this way. So I'm going to tighten up these first. Now, to take the starter off and put the cover back on, I need to loosen these up, and then I'll lose my alignment. So I guess I'm gonna have to weld these nuts on here. Again, I don't have to use this thing. I could use the bell housing. It's just something that interests me and I wanted to try. So let me get this aligned right. Check it again. So now it's stuck in. It's stuck in. We want to disengage. So what does that mean? Let's see if I can rotate the engine. Now it's hitting the back. I'm just not sure what this means. Why is it doing this? Just not sure how to fix this. Anyway, I'm frustrated. So I guess I got to mount a relay with this starter. I'm just wondering where to put it. I'm thinking I want it up here. That way I can run my starter switch up to here, no problem. I can put this thing anywhere, but somewhere close to the battery and the control panel. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it overnight. So my conclusion on this, trying to make this bracket work, I've been looking at it for an hour. I think the first thing I need to do is hook up the battery and turn this starter and see which way this flywheel moves. And see if it works. I think I have it adjusted right. And if I have it adjusted right, then I have to know how to repeat it. But I can weld these nuts so that'll be, those will stay. But here I'm not sure how to do that. I guess if you're going to use this, you need to check your gap between your starter gear and your ring gear here. And I think the most important thing is that it engages. If it can't engage, it'll never work. And I'm looking at wear marks on here. It only looks like it only had like an 1/8 of an inch grab onto the ring gear. That's what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Okay, I went and looked at my photos last night. The spring. Should go down here. I don't know where this spring goes. I looked in the pictures, I don't think it was hooked up. The problem with buying engines, if you buy an engine, take a bunch of pictures. But the other problem is, I'm going to show you. Again, this is all for fun. So this 302 came with a regulator. The 289 had a generator. But the problem is he yanked off the connection, so I don't know how it hooks up. I mean, I don't even have that connection. And also, I believe with this regulator, this alternator, there should be a external voltage regulator. And I'm not sure how to hook that up. So that's the kind of stuff I'm going to be doing. And then this is the choke that used to have that hot air down to the intake manifold, but this is no good anymore. That spark plug hole there stripped. 3/4 16, I think. I gotta figure out what to do with that. Yeah, I welded this piece up because I'll show you tomorrow. I got a really late start again, but I needed this piece. Yeah, I'm doing this kind of piecemeal as I get parts, as I solve problems. But just for the gas tank, all I gotta do, see, I wanna use the fuel pump, so if that fuel pump doesn't work, I'm gonna replace it. But, so I put this thing together, and without this hose on here, if I shook this thing, pressure would just pour gas out here. So there's a valve on here that you open and it relieves the pressure. There's no pressure unless you shake it. I mean, I don't know why I didn't know that, but because I don't want to spill it again, I put a shut-off valve. And this gas tank comes with a full gauge. If it's over here, it's full. Over here, it's empty. It says right here, full, empty. Anyway, that's one problem solved. Because I left a trail of gas all the way back to there, just carrying it over here. I made this plate, and I'll show you where it goes, and I welded on nuts here and here. Every time I weld on nuts, I always have to clean out the thread, but I just wanted to show you. I got this off Amazon because I had the cheapo China one. They've already been cleaned out. Oh, I want to put a ground on here too. Maybe I will put another ground on here. I don't know that I need it. Do I need another one here? Engine block. Then I have to have one coming down from the control panel. And I think I'll put another one here. I don't know that I need it, but this is a smaller lug. It didn't stick. Sometimes you gotta get this stuff heated up. I'm gonna leave it on there. I'm just gonna go put this under the hose and blow it off. Just put the water in this area. Let's go to the engine block if it's long enough. I mean, it's not that dirty, but I just don't. It bugs me. I got the sandblaster. It'll only take a couple minutes. Only took a minute. A couple of minutes actually. So I just got to get the regulator whenever that shows up. So this is going to go. So I welded this piece on. It didn't quite fit inside here, so I took off the joint. I just scraped it off, if you know what I'm talking about, where they welded it together. And then I welded on the ground. This is going to come off. But I wanted room to get into the starter. And I didn't want it in the way of this, and I wanted to be able to get this off. So I can still get at the starter. And I wanted to be able to get this off, because that's the end. I can't go any more that way. So now, let's go from the starter to here, you know, cut it, and go from here to there. Again, I'm working on a couple things at once because my spark plug hole is stripped, so I ordered a spark plug cleaner. I might have to take the head off. I'm working on this. Got the fuel tank in. This starter bracket over here, I'm trying to get a different one. It pisses me off that it's not right. Or I could just put the bell housing on. Anyway, I'm not in a real rush. I don't need this to start the car. Well, this will be helpful. But I don't need a regulator. I don't need a radiator. I don't need any of that stuff. I'm playing. And the negative will go to engine block. So the other thing I don't know if I talked about is, again, I don't know that much about alternators. I think I used to 30, 40 years ago, but I forgot everything I know. But somehow, you know, this will make, they got 1-wire alternators. This is a 3-wire, I believe, and I'm just not sure how to wire it yet. I'll figure it out. I need to take this off and get a closer look at what it's going. But basically, I think that's an idiot light. Well, you're gonna have to run an exciter. I'm just talking through my ass here. You gotta run something to the alternator to excite, meaning give it some voltage, and then the alternator will build up more power from the windings. Before it's spinning, the idiot light will go on when you turn the key on, meaning it's not charging because it's at motion. Now this thing might even be bad, I don't know, but I just want to understand everything, and I don't mind taking the time to do it. So I'm just kind of doing one thing at a time. Right now it's really just the starter, the battery. Then I'll work on the charging, the gauges. I have to understand how it works. So I don't know why I'm talking so much, but that's what's going on. There's no rush for me to do this. I do it 2 or 3 hours a day when I feel like it, and I get enjoyment out of it. But I made it this way because I want to be able to take it off if I don't need it. I don't need that anymore. So you see how easy that came off? What I'm learning is heat the metal up first. Heat the metal because it takes heat to weld. So if you just putting a weld on a cold piece of metal just doesn't stick that good. I don't know if you can see that. And again, I welded this on here because I don't want to put it on here because that limits me from being able to move anything. So I think that's all I'm going to do today. You know, I think about it. Maybe this should have gone over there. Then I can get to the back of the engine. I can't remember where this goes. I think this goes to the, yeah, this goes to the firewall. That's where this goes. So really, you usually have a, let's see, I'm thinking myself, you usually have a negative to the engine block, and then this to the firewall. That'll be the ground for the car. So this is my firewall. That's what this is. And I can play around, you know. I'm always going to have power here or here. I could check horns, lights, anything. Look at that, that hardly even stuck. It melted the washer, but it didn't stick to this. It's not very good. That's all I feel like doing. I want to do the regulator next. Yeah, I'm not sure how it wires, but I'll figure it out. Talking to myself again. I am just figuring this out. It's really weird when it's in a car and you just unhook a wire, you just hook it back up. But this is like building my own little car here, kind of. The other thing I just want to say, in case anybody's interested, if you build an engine stand, because everything slides and I painted it, this frame is not grounded. So this is my grounding plate. Somehow the battery, the engine, I'm gonna call it the firewall. The battery, the firewall, the engine block, and the control panel all are gonna work off of this. Okay, I got my voltage regulator. I'm just gonna mount it on here, and I'll get back when it's done. Okay, remember I'm just playing around and trying to figure things out. So I got a solenoid, a regulator, and I decided to put a key switch on here because I had it laying around, and I got the 2 grounds. But I got into late start. So again, I don't know if this is good. This is used. This is new, but it doesn't mean it's any good. The key switch doesn't mean it's any good. And I still got to figure out, I'm not exactly sure how to wire these yet. I also decided I don't want to screw around with that adapter plate anymore for the starter. It just doesn't fit. I just don't want to screw around with it. But I'm going to tell you what I learned. Something I didn't know. You see this center hole here? The torque converter should fit in there. So what I'm getting at, if you switch engines and transmissions, I mean, you can make anything go together if you understand it all, which I don't yet. But these 2 holes here, let me back up. I have 2 more flex plates. These 2 have a bigger hole than that one. So that would mean it'd need a different torque converter. Also, this one's 167 or 68 teeth. I have to count it again. This one's 164 teeth. That one's like 100 and, let's see, I wrote it down somewhere. I think I put it in this box. Here's my spark plug stripper fixer. That was like, I counted 159, but they say it's 157. So anyway, the reason they have these different teeth, different sizes and different teeth, this is what I think I understand now, is that the bigger the engine or the different compression, you need more teeth to turn it over easier. So I'm just throwing that in because I just learned it. But anyway, I'm going to, and I found 2 more of these brackets on eBay. They're 25 bucks each. It's worth it to me because I just want to play with it. So but in the meantime, I'm going to take that off, put the bell housing on, put the starter in, and see if I can turn the engine. I'm probably not going to do it today. So I put the torque converter, the bell housing back on the C4 transmission. I'm going to take it back off. I'm not ready to mess with the transmission yet. So this is a temporary control panel. I want the regulator near the battery. I want the solenoid near the battery because this starter, as I've already said, a couple days went by. This type of starter does not come with a solenoid on top. And I need to figure out all this, how to wire all this. I'm just not sure because the car had a generator. This has got an alternator. It's different wiring, and I'm not sure yet. I gotta do some more studying. So that's where I'm at. It's Friday. Maybe I'll post this for anybody interested in this stuff. Okay, one more thing. I'm gonna do a close up on this. So I got a strip spark plug hole. Again, you remember this is an older engine. I had a hard time figuring this out, but it's a 3/4 16 when I put it in here. Or close to it. But this is called, I think it's called the M18. That's what they sell on Amazon. It's got two different sizes. So that fits tighter. So anyway, M18. I think it's M18, and I forget the thread pitch. Again, they're talking in millimeters. So the problem is now is I got to thread this into the head, but am I gonna push stuff inside the piston? So I'm gonna think about how to do that. Be nice if that was magnetized. It's not. I'm thinking about pushing a rag inside and then try to get it back out and pull out the filings with it. Or I'm also thinking about figuring out how to open the valves, you know, because I can't see in there, and pull it out, clean it, and also blow it out, and hopefully the stuff will come out through the exhaust or the intake. Yeah, so I need to open the exhaust valve. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. So I'm not going to do it today, but here's that M18 in the thread in the spark plug hole. It looks like it's going to work. So, but I think I need to figure out, I don't know. Let me think about this. I mean, if you were doing this, what would you do? I guess I should get the piston up as high as I can so stuff doesn't drop down in there. And then push a rag in and lay on top of the piston. Maybe put a piece of wire on it so I can hook it and yank it out. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking about right now. In last resort, I'll have to use a helicoil, which means I'll have to drill it out and put an insert, which means I'll have to pull a head, I guess. Also, I was thinking about the carburetor. Let me talk about that. Again, this is pure entertainment, something for me to do in my retirement age. This does not have the right linkage for the kickdown. So let's just walk over here. I'm thinking about switching this carburetor. For this linkage. Thinking about it. Because, let's see, the kickdown goes on, the kickdowns actually go on the linkage that's up in the car. So I gotta think about this over the weekend. I don't work on weekends, I rest. Unless I feel like it. So that's where we are. Again, I'm just thinking about all the stuff. Oh yeah, I wanted to pull this alternator off. Again, I'm eventually going to switch this to a one-wire alternator, but I want to understand, I probably said this 10 times, I want to understand how to hook this thing up. The old 3-wire, which has got the external regulator, that's what this is. I probably said this already. The newer ones have an internal regulator, so you do away with this thing completely. But I want to know. Just to end this, if you're following me through all this, again, this is a 302. The engine way over there is a 289. Had a generator. This has got the regulator, so it's got different brackets. So I want to pull this off so I can see what's on the back, or see if I can find a serial number. But let's take pictures. It's so easy to forget all this stuff. Oh look, there's no bolt in the bottom of the alternator. No bolt in the bottom of the alternator. Yeah, I've been wondering also, how did they get power from the regulator, the alternator, the solenoid, up to the key switch? There must be a loose wire in here somewhere. I mean, or did they just yank it out? I mean, here's all the wires. There's only 4 wires. He must have had this thing hot wired in here. So again, I am going to build this this control panel later, but I need to understand this. I think this is the most difficult part to me. I'm not a mechanic. Anybody else watches as a mechanic, it's simple to you, but not to me. Look at the spacer they stuck on there. Weird brass spacer. So, I'm just looking at the carburetor. I don't know. No rush. Playing around. I was talking about this fuel tank somewhere in the middle of this video. It's leaking. This pressure builds up in this. It's leaking right out of there. I think. So let's open and see how much pressure's in here. You hear that? I gotta solve that. Maybe put less gas. Again, I'll work on that. But I can't have that. And my battery tray. Again, the gas is leaking into the battery tray. Let me pick this battery up. I mean this, not the battery tray, the fuel tray. Let me pick it up, see what's underneath. That just irritates me. But anyway, when I built this, I purposely didn't make complete welds so it would leak out. Look at this. Tip this upside down for the weekend. And this I gotta put on the cement floor. I'll go put it near that door. I don't know how to seal this. I just don't know how to do it. I might have to get another tank. And I don't want to do that either. Yeah, this is a closing statement. I don't know that I can trust these plastic tanks. I mean, what do? Do you buy them and then test them? I might have to get a small metal fuel tank, which means I might have to rebuild that.